welcome to X3 One Topic 3 Pundits. I'm your host, John C. Dvorak. I'm here with Andrew Eisner and Joe Engo to discuss the breaking news that Adobe is dropping Flash development. In fact, they had a big layoff too.
Well, mobile Flash development.
Mobile Flash development, specifically for the iPad, the stuff that Steve Jobs didn't want. He says, look, it's too buggy, and I guess now Adobe's in agreement.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
Steve won.
Steve won again.
Yeah, that's right. And Adobe announced today that they're laying off 7% of their workforce.
Yeah.
So that's a hefty number. And so I don't know. I mean, I guess this is the beginning of the end of Flash, right? And you hate Flash
I'm
anyway.
so excited about that. You have no
one
idea.
of the things I want to
hate
bring up,
Flash.
because I don't think everyone, people haven't watched all these shows, but the thing that always fascinated me is you brought it up on a show some time back about the Flash virus bug. There's some sort of
the Flash cookies.
The Flash thing that gets into your system, you can't get rid of it. It's
Flash
like a
cookies,
Trojan. It's a Flash cookie.
Yeah.
But how is that dangerous?
Well, it's not dangerous. It's just it's tracking you everywhere you go through all these different websites.
And you just can't erase your cookies and get rid of it?
Well, you can now. Like, browsers are starting to make it easier, and Adobe's actually working with some of their browser makers to make it easier to actually clear out these cookies. But for the longest time, it was very difficult to actually clear these things out. But now Adobe actually has a website that you could go to actually clear out those cookies. But it was a tracking cookie that was completely different. Like, you could clear all the cookies in your browser, and they still could track you between different page loads.
Who would do that?
Oh, every single video site in existence.
Why?
For advertising purposes, for just tracking users.
Tracking you like a dog.
Give it to the CIA, I don't know, for whatever reasons they're using it for.
So who wins, HTML5?
Well, HTML5 is pretty cool, but there's some serious problems with it, though.
Like what?
Especially, well, for example, you can't do arcade-style sound with it. You just can't. It just does not work very well, and it's a train wreck. Until they have that solved, you really can't do any successful HTML5 games.
Is it a synchronization problem, or is it just a transference
Well,
problem?
the only option you have is either play during, which doesn't work very well across most browsers, and then you also have the audio tag, which is not intended for that purpose.
So what are they building games in now?
Well, they're building games without it. Most games that are actually HTML5 games are still using Flash for sound.
Okay. So you can use Flash for sound and not for video, and that's fine?
Well, I mean, I would rather see Flash go away entirely, but...
But those games won't run on Apple products?
Well, no, they'll work.
Flash audio?
Well, without the audio, yeah. Without the audio.
It's like a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, a lot of games that are written with PhoneGap are using HTML5.
What's PhoneGap?
PhoneGap, we talked about this previously. It's the development toolkit.
Yeah.
It's a cross-mobile platform toolkit.
Oh, right.
It runs everything into WebKit.
I can't remember from one minute to the next. Also in the news, I don't know if it's related, but HP's weighing the sale of the WebOS unit.
Yeah.
Does WebOS
shocking
Flash, by the way?
What's that?
I was trying to make a connection.
Well, Meg had an all-hands meeting last night and said that, contrary to what was said previously about dumping the whole WebOS, she's now saying, well, I'm going to think about it for a couple of weeks. And personally, I think that they'll probably just find somebody to buy the whole Palm division because of IP. I mean, all this stuff is about IP now. In fact, that's probably what HP thought in the beginning. They said, well, let's pay $1.2 billion for Palm, and we can always get some of it back with IP.
You remember when they did this buy, that one of the main things that Aptheker said was, we're doing it so we could have remote printing capabilities, because there's some patented material in the WebOS, and there was. Do you remember this remote printing thing? It was a
I
big
don't
deal.
remember this.
I wrote a whole column on it.
Yeah.
It's like remote printing. I'm thinking, why would you pay this much money for remote printing? You can do that anyway.
Yeah.
And according to Joe, printing's dead.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, how many?
Dead.
Well, you use printer like 7 times a day, but I mean, when's the last time you print anything?
I do occasionally, but a lot less frequently than I used to. I agree.
I mean, seriously, the last time I used a printer was maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I don't print anything ever.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And
But you
faxes
print
are
this.
going out too.
I didn't print it.
Well, somebody did.
So anyway, so what's going to happen is Meg is going to decide in 2 weeks they're going to probably, I predict they'll sell it off to somebody who, because Palm goes way back. I mean, they were the first handheld devices.
Yeah, no, Palm should be owning the business.
They must have some great patents, though.
They have to.
Yeah. So that's why.
So maybe Google will buy them and
Amazon,
add them
no,
to the
Amazon
Motorola.
has to buy them, I think, because they have the fewest. I mean, they're going to get hammered on the Kindle Fire. I mean, everybody's going to come after them with patents, and Samsung and everybody. But so maybe if they have some of these mobile handheld patents in their portfolio, they'll be able to hold off.
I don't know how much is really going to help them.
That's the way I see it.
Well, you know, there's experts out there, they go through the patent portfolio. It takes them a long time. They say, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
and then they find a blocking patent, and they say, you know, those guys at Apple can't even do anything without this
Exactly,
patent.
that's right. All that, the PDA stuff, all that handheld stuff, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
All right.
I think they're going to keep it, to be honest about it. That's my
Okay.
little off the wall, but that's where I'm going. You've been watching X3.